I'm Beatrice. I'm dyslexic, and this is my story. So coming up as a Mexican American, it was always very hard, not just fitting in with like Western beauty standards, but also like trying to understand who fundamentally I was as a person. I always knew that there was something wrong with like how I read stuff, because there was always like a lot of confusion, and there was so much frustration behind that, and the language barrier between me and my mother and trying to like communicate to her about that was very hard, because obviously my siblings didn't have that type of experience where they had like that school system that cared enough about them to pay attention. And thankfully I was in a position where they were able to pay attention to me, and they tested me early on. They were like, your daughter has dyslexia. My mom was very frustrated with me, and I don't blame her. I think when like your parents grow up being very mad, I think you also grow up being very mad. So I think I gave her a lot of leeway with that. If you're still finding like stuff hard, it's okay to ask for help. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if they're here. Like, you're paying tuition. Go ahead and use that, like, please. Like, you submit your documentation, you wait like maybe like 2-3 days. Dang, that's actually really fast. But you do that, you get like a little email that's like, hey, we're gonna set you up with like your little like caseworker. So yeah, you're gonna have a meeting this day or something like that. Or they tell you they tell you that you have a meeting, or like you book it or something, and you go, you have a nice little conversation with your caseworker. She's very sweet, mine was. And you just talk about it. Yeah, she made it kind of easy to understand like how to ask for help, and like if anything, I had a question about something, she helped me answer it, and then like my teacher fixed it immediately. I think it's important that not everybody learns the same, and I think it's important to take that level of like humanness to like connect with somebody and be like, you know what, you might not learn the same way as me, but I'm gonna help you understand this the best way I could, and maybe help myself retain that better.
Hi, my name is Allison. I'm autistic, and this is my story. One of the key facts of being autistic that I also relate to the most is the need for sameness and structure and routine. Going from one set of routines as a high school student to now living a completely different life in many ways as a college student has definitely been the most difficult. Just being on campus with 30,000 people, all of whom have completely different ideas about how the world works and how a person should operate in it, has been very challenging for me. I was unaware going into it just how many student activism events and booths and statements and things just happened around campus all day. And I've come to realize that that's a good thing, and it's cool that students have those opportunities. For a while, I was very upset by all these activities, both from a sensory perspective, because a lot of these events were loud or crowded. I definitely had to figure out what times of day they were most active to avoid it. But also just the whole influx of ideas coming in. I was often very overwhelmed by, am I doing this wrong? Am I living my life, or are my beliefs wrong? And so it took me a very long time to filter through all of the ideas that I was hearing to figure out like where I stood as a student in the activities on campus. Being able to receive personalized accommodations from the disability office has maybe been one of the most helpful things for me since coming. Being able to sit down and advocate for my needs and be heard and accommodated for has definitely been instrumental to my success here so far.
Do you want to talk about your dyno at all?
Oh, yes, that's easier than giving advice. I've been here for 1 semester. I don't know what advice to give people. This is my emotional support dinosaur. His name is Bartholomew. He goes to classes with me, he goes to events with me. I don't know, he's just a comfort item. If I'm feeling upset or overstimulated or etc., I'm able to sort of squeeze him to get that sort of deep pressure that I need. Having him on my desk has been a conversation piece that's helped me talk to people, and I know most adults don't bring their stuffed animals to class with them, but he's been helpful. I'm glad he comes with me.
Hello, my name is Crispy Polanco, and previously on Share Your Stories, I shared last semester that I was diagnosed with diabetes back maybe 16, 17 years ago. Chose to go to work and grind out for that paycheck and just for me and my family to survive instead of taking care of my health, and eventually I lost my vision because of it. Spent 10 months in an adult blind center in Austin, relearning how to live life. Came out with a job at the Austin Resource Center for Independent Living, which has an office in San Marcos where I worked out of, and chose to enroll in Texas State, majoring in communication studies at the time, with an eye towards law school. I was also participating in an advocacy training program with the Texas Council for Developmental Disabilities, which includes a capstone project. My project that I chose was to tackle the issue of parental rights for people with disabilities, because while at the Blind Center, I learned that people with disabilities lose custody of their children at higher rates than a lot of other groups, particularly minorities with disabilities. So I've chosen to take that on, and as part of that project, I've chosen to take part in the undergraduate research program Idea Center, where I'll be able to conduct, the research I need to find out how big of a problem it is. I just wanted to do this again to highlight to other students with disabilities, well, anybody with disabilities, just what you can do. Like, your disability only limits you so much before it's society that needs to come meet you where you are. A lot of the other students, probably all of the other students who participate and share your stories, they know that, what they're capable of and what they're going to be able to do because they're doing it. So I'm hoping that these stories can get out to other people with disabilities who might think that, they're limited in their options for their future. That no, they're really not. There really is not anything in this world that they cannot do. And that's my story.
So I'm Dr. Jonathan Von Steen. I'm with the Idea Center. I am the student development specialist. And so what that means is what I do is I help students engage in research as undergraduates. I also help a lot of graduate students with their research needs. So they might have to do an IRB or certain paperwork. I might also help them with their data collection or their analysis. And it's been especially helpful for some of our students who are registered with ODS, particularly those who are autistic or have ADHD, because they tell us, the small class sizes really help. We max out our classes at 18 students, sometimes 20. They love how structured everything is, but they have had an absolute blast with their mentors because students like us, and I'm autistic, and so I've been through Texas State as a student with a disability. Mentorship is one of the things that impacts us the most because we need people who can kind of sit us down and say like, hey, I know you think what you just did is fine, but also let's dial that back maybe a little bit and have that person who is a trusted voice who isn't judging us and is actually saying like, hey, you want to be more professional. This is kind of how you balance that with your identity and being a professional, but also just someone who we know will advocate for us. And that's what our students have told us that their faculty mentors have been able to do for them, where they've advocated for them professionally, personally. A lot of our students are working with their faculty for 2 or 3 years. And a lot of our students who are ADHD have told us that that hands-on experience has been really helpful because for a lot of neurodivergent students, it is difficult to take the theoretical stuff and actually apply it to what you're doing in your day-to-day. And they don't have to wait to do that for when they get hired after they graduate. They're actually doing it now. And so we've had a lot of really positive feedback from all of our students, but also our students who have disclosed to me personally that they have disabilities, because I've always been very open about being autistic. And so that makes our students very open about disclosing stuff to me. But it's very much that personal relationship that we get to have with students that has been very, very impactful. So I love what we do. I love what we've been able to do for students. They're getting these hands-on experiences. They're publishing in professional journals, not just like undergraduate journals. They're getting funding to go to graduate school. All these things that a lot of students with disabilities might think aren't actually possible for them. We've been able to help open those doors through our office.
Hi, my name's Gloria, and this is my story. I was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome and Turner syndrome. Hypoplastic left heart syndrome is a congenital heart defect that affects the left side of my heart, and Turner syndrome is a genetic condition. I wasn't diagnosed with Turner syndrome till I was 2, because it was just missed in the first genetic test. It greatly impacted my K through 12 education. I had ARDS and accommodations. I really struggled in math and learning those concepts. And it was also really hard to get my teachers to understand why I struggled in math and get them to follow my accommodations. After high school, I wasn't sure what I was going to do for college. I knew that I didn't have the scores to be accepted, and so that's when I started looking into inclusive post-secondary education programs, IPSC programs, and found the new one, Bobcat Rise, that Texas State had just started. Bobcat Rise is Texas State's 4-year inclusive post-secondary education, so it is a college program that several other universities have for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We take classes along just normal college classes, and there are other classes that are program specific that work on job skills and self-advocacy, political advocacy, independent living skills, all the things that you will need after college to be able to live independently. My advice would be to advocate for yourself. When you need something, tell somebody, and hopefully they will listen and can help you get the help you need.
Sorry. My name is Lulu, and I have narcolepsy and OCD. A big part of any sleep disorder is that it can be hidden by other kinds of issues. For me, my mom was very understanding and realized that like I had issues going into 3rd grade basically. Like she was aware that some of my things weren't just normal growing issues or whatever. So I would say from 3rd grade up until sophomore year, I was in and out of doctor's offices. We finally found a doctor that like was like, sit down, you're gonna tell me every single symptom you have, even if it's like an ache, you're gonna tell me about it. And that's when he was like, all of a sudden I said, I'm a very clumsy person. Sometimes it feels like my legs just give out and I don't know why. And that's when he was like, you definitely have narcolepsy type 1. Because cataplexy is what happens when your body just kind of loses like muscle stiffness. And when you just fall over because your body's so tired. And so that like started the road to me getting my official diagnosis with narcolepsy. Registering for disability services was very easy. It was literally just like sign up and then plug in your doctor's like accommodation letter. Very quickly I was given my advisor, given the list of accommodations I can get with the Zoom meeting. And so far I feel like they've all been pretty helpful. The one I use the most is like extra time on tests. And I really think if I didn't have that like extra 45 minutes, I would have like failed a lot of my tests. Just because with narcolepsy, you tend to like have brain fog. And I think having that accommodation has helped a lot. Also being able to have food and drinks in class, because a lot of like the teaching theaters don't allow it. But like it helps me stay awake during class to just like munch on a granola bar or like have a little something like grapes. If you haven't been diagnosed yet, I would say try to sit down with yourself and really learn how to explain what you are physically feeling. If all your physical feelings, like whether it is like a little pain in your right toe or something, really sit down and write down all those physical pains, all the mental pains. So when you go to your next doctor's appointment, you can say, hey, I know what I'm feeling isn't right. Here is literally the list. I want to go through this list and describe every single thing until we can find some kind of answer.
My name is Michael. I have autism and ADHD. This is my story. I'm a junior who has a major in history and education. When I was a kid, I knew I had autism. I know I also have ADHD. Fast forward to my 20s, I would officially get diagnosed with ADHD combined subtype. I have been going to mental health counseling in college. I closely relate to the hyperfixations. There's the special interest in history. I'm on the leadership committee for the Texas Association of Speech Educators at Texas State. There was some earlier issues with executive function during the earlier years. I was having some trouble getting up the assignments before I get the proper as necessary. The experience is good. Out of those specialists being very thorough with the interview process. I've been using my accommodations. I feel like the extended time and the computer access accommodations have been the most beneficial. My advice is that they should also look into these similar resources. There's the DS office, the clerk counseling, and there's also the transfer ambassador program. And I'm done with my associate's degree in history. I am currently working on my bachelor's degree in history and education. I'm honored to be given the same opportunities and support like everybody else at this college.
Hi, My name is Ava, and I have stage 3 neurologic Lyme disease, and this is my story. So with Lyme disease, it can affect people a really wide range of ways. Most people who get it have flu-like symptoms, and then they go on antibiotics, and they are fine in a month or 2. I was 11 years old when I caught Lyme disease, which is why I have somewhat more severe symptoms. Another thing that affected this was that I was misdiagnosed with a different medical condition and was put through a treatment program that ended up making things a lot worse for me and caused some lasting nerve damage, which is why I'm a wheelchair user now. So Lyme disease has 3 stages. Stage 1 presents pretty typically like the flu, actually, with a big emphasis on fatigue and joint pain and just feeling like crap. Stage 2, many of the flu-like symptoms will clear up, but the fatigue, the joint and body pain will stay, and you might present with some neurological symptoms. And that's after a few months of having it. Stage 3 is after a couple of years of having it. Many of the other symptoms can clear up, and the neurological symptoms can get very bad. In my case, it caused a lot of nerve damage in my legs, so I can't walk and I can't feel my feet. Here in Texas, there are not a lot of doctors who are trained to treat Lyme disease, and the hope is that I might be able to regain some function. Theoretically, I could have significant improvement in symptoms, but in reality, I don't think I will ever be all the way better. I went through the process of getting accommodations in Texas State before I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I was very proactive. It was almost a year before move-in. I made sure to get my accommodations, and I knew that if I needed housing accommodations here, that I would definitely need to put in a lot of work. Housing, they can do a lot. They can make your space wheelchair accessible. They have personal suites if you need access to your own bathroom. They are first come, first serve. You gotta get there early. I was able to get everything I needed. I got all my academic accommodations, I've got all my housing accommodations, and I'm very happy with how that turned out. Disability services was incredible. Even if you don't have full, complete diagnostic papers, even if your documentation is a little spotty, they can work with you. You need some sort of documentation that you have some sort of symptoms, but it's okay if you don't have full diagnostic papers.
My name is Nicole. I have OCD, specifically relationship OCD, and am autistic. And this is my story. Relationship OCD, it's OCD about relationships, and it can be for any relationship, but most people have it for romantic relationships. But I've mainly had it for friendships, but I've had it for both. And it's mainly made up of mental compulsions. Compulsions are things you feel you have to do to feel better. I always feel the urge to figure out my feelings right away. Another common compulsion is reassurance. You always feel you need to talk to other people to be able to make a decision or to be able to feel better about your situation, because even though it doesn't help because it's just reinforcing the pattern. I had a therapist when I was 11 or something, and I stayed with her till I was 19. She wasn't really a good therapist, and she kind of abused her power because she was manipulative and crossed boundaries and stuff, and wasn't even helpful for progressing in my mental health. I had gotten perspective from a different therapist who had read my neuropsych, and she said that I might be autistic, and then I told that therapist about it, and she acted like it was a bad thing. In general, I feel learning about ROCD and autism has been very validating in understanding myself and knowing that I'm not crazy for feeling this way, and made me feel less alone. Now I have a therapist that I'm comfortable with, because I felt I kept on going from therapist to therapist because I don't connect with them. And then this therapist pointed out I could try to break the cycle, and that it wasn't something to do with the therapists. NeuroCats is this autism program. There's one-on-one help. She understands the struggles of being neurodivergent, and she can help you with school or with social things, or coming up with solutions for things, especially even if it's hard, you struggle in school and you feel all the neurotypical advice isn't working for you. And then there's also support groups for specific flavors of autism. That sounds so cringe. Advice for someone facing similar challenges is try to recognize patterns within yourself to help you break out of cycles that you're struggling with, and try to find people who stick with you because they're out there even if you've felt hopeless or misunderstood.
All right, so I'm Dr. Lori Wisniewski, and I am the coordinator for NeuroCats, which is our new support program for autistic and neurodivergent students here at Texas State. On the student side, we offer support in 3 different ways. We do one-on-one meetings with me where we use kind of a coaching model. Students come in, are able to share kind of what they have going on in life, where they need support, and then we set goals based on that. Then we have the social side of it, which is where students can come to either our online or in-person social support groups, just because each of these different identity groups have their own needs and have their own ideas about what they want to talk about and how they want support. Then the last part that we have right now is the workshops. And these are all topics that students have disclosed that they want more information about, they want to learn about from neurodivergent experts in our campus community. And everything is geared towards neurodivergent students instead of kind of general topics and advice that doesn't really support neurodivergent brains. Another part of the program is I do professional development, education, and training for our campus community. So I'm available to talk with different departments, talk with faculty and staff, and just share more about how to best support neurodivergent and autistic students. So originally, this came about because I was a recreation therapist for 10 years, and I supported students who, were in college and autistic, and all of the troubles that they were coming up with or hitting, it wasn't because they weren't smart enough or capable enough or, succeeding academically. It was because the faculty and staff at their colleges didn't understand them and didn't understand how they needed support. So I think for me, it was seeing that and seeing that so many of my clients were having the same troubles, right? They were getting in trouble for fidgeting in class. They were getting in trouble for stemming in class or not being able to communicate in neurotypical ways. And so I came back for my doctorate so that I could look into this and figure out what kind of supports would truly change the academic setting for autistic and neurodivergent students. And so for me, it's this constant kind of identity development and figuring out, who I am as a neurodivergent person and how I can use my experiences through research and through, working with other students to kind of help improve the whole community.
I'm Jessica Dunn, and I'm here at Texas State University, and I'm enrolled in the PhD program for adult professional community education. And I wanted to talk today because as a veteran from the Iraq wars, I wanted to encourage other veteran students to go ahead and seek out different resources we have here at Texas State. We have the Office of Disability Services. We also have local community veteran service offices. For me, throughout my whole military career, I never really thought I had an issue or sought out assistance, but I went to the Iraq wars in 2009 and 10, and I came back and I was complaining about my eyesight, and fatigue, and come to find out they diagnosed it 10 years later when I was retiring through the out process. That I actually had cat scratch fever / trench fever, which was targeting my eyes, and I was rapidly developing blind spots in my eyes. And so it's permanently disabled with my eyes and blind spots. I'm 50% blind. And so I really started thinking I may not be able to continue my college education. And I was working, but my eyes were getting fatigue at the end of the workday. I was thinking I can't keep up with my reading and all these things. And I went to the Office of Disability Services, and I talked to the gentleman. He had a disability, and he encouraged me, no, you're in the right place. You should be here. And I was really encouraged by his vulnerability, showing his disability, and that I could really just go ahead and see what technology was available for me. All those different technology services, and him showcasing that and giving me time to discover that, it encouraged me to proceed and apply for my PhD, and I got accepted. So it was a game changer for me, and that's why I'm more open now about my disability, so that other veterans and students in general just seek out care if they have something going on. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be mental health, whatever. Don't be shy about it. Well, we have the educational piece, the GI office. That's for the college benefits. But then we have Texas Workforce, which a lot of people don't know about. It's actually here in the library and the first floor, right here with the studio level. And a lot of times if you have, you think you've maybe utilized all your services with the college, with your GI Bill, maybe there's Workforce. And the Workforce pairs and partners with Texas Workforce Commission to see how they can best service the veterans. Also here you have in the downtown square of San Marcos, the Veteran Service Office, and Jude Prather and others are down there, and they can basically intake veterans and see if, do you want to start a claim? Are you going to the VA? Do you need, those medical services? Office of Disability Services, Texas Workforce, the GI office, and then the local VSO. That's what I recommend for most. We do have also a curation work study program on campus with the archaeology department. And you can get different work study programs too. Sometimes those are paired with a GI Bill. And then you have Hazelwood, if you came into the service here at Texas, that's a benefit. Or you have Chapter 35 for your dependents if you have a disability, so your kids can come to school. So I say, don't assume that you know much, just go in and talk to those experts, and then they'll kind of go down the checklist with you so that you can see everything that you might have available to you as a veteran student.
Hi, my name is Joaquin Trejo. My disability is called 22q, also known as the George syndrome, and today I'll be sharing my story. My disability is not as common as others like Down syndrome, autism. It's the removal of the 22nd chromosome, so I am currently missing a chromosome. I guess I'm considered more typical for people with my disability, whatever that means. Many people with my disability have similar tendencies to those who have autism, and you could easily confuse us with that disability, but it varies from person to person. It helped a lot that I was able to use like accommodations from extra time on tests to specific note-taking that I could use. For here, I use the extra time on tests as well as being able to record lectures. It just depends on like what I need for that specific area of study. Currently, aside from disability services, which I do disability services, and I do attend some of their like events, connect groups. I also do TRIO, which is I'm a part of the Student Support Services program at TRIO. So I try to go there like once a week if I can, and get help with whatever I need help with. They're usually just like an extra support system. Like they were doing exam study sessions for midterms this past week, and I attended that, and I felt better. I would say get as much support as you can. It's not a shame that that just because you have a disability means you can't ask for support or whatever. You may be seen as, oh, you need extra support. Nobody cares. If you get extra support and it helps you through college, you will do better in college and in life. Don't compare yourself to other people about where they're at. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Compare yourself to how you were last year. See if you can accomplish yourself, your goals yourself.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm chronically ill, and this is my story. Last year, I was in Share Your Story, and I covered a list of my physical conditions. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, fibromyalgia, amplified pain syndrome, gastroparesis, and polycystic ovary syndrome. But I didn't cover the mental health aspects of that and the anxiety conditions that I have. Dysautonomia is an autonomic nervous system condition. It means that your nervous system can be out of whack, basically. And it means that some people may think they have anxiety when really they have POTS. You can also have both. I also have obsessive compulsive disorder. At 12, I started having physical symptoms, and we kind of put OCD on the back burner. I ended up having to go to 6 months of intense mental and physical therapy in order to be accepted into a pain management program in Kansas City. Last semester, I went to the Texas State Counseling Center, and I told them what was going on, and they asked me what insurance I had, what my preferences are, if I want to see a therapist online or in person, and they set me up with somebody, and I got in contact with them, and I'm very thankful for that. My advice for incoming students that are going to be living on campus is to submit your requests early, talk to disability services because they are there to help you, and you have early access to do things and get accommodations, and by the regular time for everybody that's putting in their request around July or August, they're already mostly going to be full. So do what's best for you and reach out because they're there to help. I think caring too much about who you're gonna live with is not as important as your own needs. Disability Services has been really helpful because my most important thing for me is community. I'm the vice president of the club Pause for POTS. Last year, I was hesitant to join clubs and interact with people talking about their disabilities because the doctors have told me that whenever people ask you about your pain or you're thinking about it too much, it can actually make you hyper-focused on it and it can make it feel worse to you. And I was like, oh, people are just gonna sit around and talk about being sick. It's not that. You're just around people that are like you. And it feels good to talk about how you are and what you go through. You may come from some place that you were one of the only people that had the conditions you had or had the limitations you had. You're here now and there's other people like you and you're not excluded here.